So about a year ago, well, maybe a year and a half ago, I bought a beer grain kit from Midwest Brewing Supply, and I brewed up a batch of their European Pilsner style lager. But I hated bottling. The whole concept of yeast sediment in the bottom of the beer, I didn't like that. I wanted a better way, so I go online and I find this Brian Willis character, and he built one of these. It's a chest freezer made into a Kegerator, homemade Keezer. Thanks a lot, Brian. You cost me $1,000, but admittedly, you probably saved my marriage, because I would have just had a chest freezer in the living room with party taps hanging out from underneath the seal. She's happy, and I guess I'm kind of happy. It came out really nice. I'm going to grout it today. That's what this video is really about, is putting the grout in travertine and then the backsplash glass tiles, the decorative tiles. It's a 7 cubic foot freezer from Sears. It's wrapped in Luan, trimmed out and stained. I changed out the thermostat for a digitally programmable model. They're only about $10 online, but it was quite a project to remove the old one and put that in there and figure out which wires were the load wires. And pretty simple machine, but if you don't know your way around electricity, that'd be tough. So drain goes down through the lid and into a collection jar, and I'm still getting the plumbing hooked up. And here's the back side of this puppy. Individual regulators for each of the 3 onboard service kegs. There's room for a 4th keg in there for long-term lagering. I've only got 2 hooked up right now. A Pilsner that we brewed about a month and a half ago. It's kind of young yet. And then an IPA that's really tasty. And I have a black IPA, but I just ran out of plumbing line. These lines need to be a lot longer than I suspected. 12 feet is kind of the norm. So, uh-oh, hey, I got a leak. Out of this, I bought this stuff from the beveragefactory.com, and it's junk. I should have gone with more standard, universally accepted parts and pieces, because this stuff is garbage. Chrome plated, and it's made in Asia, and it's just junk. These shanks that run through the wall here, they're single piece, so you can't change out the tailstock on them. There's no way to put... You got to live with what they've designed there. And the stupid compression fittings are proprietary. They're reverse threaded, and you can't get them out. They Loctited them in place or chromed them into place, and they're junk. They're the wrong size. They don't fit any standard U.S. hoses. You can't easily retain the tubing on there. It's just really unfortunate that I didn't spend a little more money. It was expensive as it was, but I wish I'd have stepped up the quality and gone with standard stuff. Computer fans control the cooling, or eventually will. I haven't wired them yet. One pulls and the other one pushes air in and out of the freezer to cool this area, and then this will all get insulated. Cover plate goes on there. Keep the last 10 or 12 inches of beer line cold. Probably chill these down enough to keep the front side of the faucets themselves chilled down. I'm worried about them sweating. It's humid here in the south, and I'm worried about them perpetually sweating condensation. We'll see how it goes. If it gets to be an issue, I'll insulate it so that these aren't cooled, and just have the lines themselves cooled right up to the point of entry. So that should keep all the moisture inside the box, but then I got to worry about mold and mildew getting inside the box if it sweats a lot. We'll see how that goes over the course of operation. So I'll show the grout process once I get the grout mixed up. Oh, here, let me move the grandfathers, and I'll open this up and let you see inside of it. Inside's pretty simple. It's just the through line holes, PVC sleeved, and room for 3 corny kegs, maybe a 4th if I'm lagering a longer lagering type beer, but 3 on tap anyways. Pretty tight. But it was all that I could talk my understanding spouse into dedicating space in the living room for. Brian had some nifty lights up underneath this tap to backlight the glass tiles, and I plan to emulate Brian in that regard also. I bought this 3 LED puck light system. It's got an infinite, I shouldn't say infinite, 16 different preset colors, and with a remote control you'll even be able to change the mood of the Keezer with 16 different color selections. So I'll get those wired up also. These are 12 volt and my computer fans are 12 volt, so possibly I will use 1 transformer, but it's just as easy. I plan to run a power strip in here prior to insulating this box, and I'll have room for the freezer itself to plug into that strip, 1 for the computer fans, and then the transformer to run these LED lights also. So on to the grouting. Alright, so I'm starting the grout process, and yes, I own the proper tools, but I can't find them. So I'm just using this sponge and sponging this stuff into the cracks up here. Starting up top with the glass portion of this thing. This is not going to work for the travertine because I don't want to get grout in all of the travertine features. But it seems to work here fairly well. I tried a little test section, and I should be able to get it in there. I'm going to use my finger. It says this stuff is corrosive. I assume that means to metals, not to human hands. But I'm not going to let it dry on my skin. I know it will dry your skin out really bad. So here we go. I'll keep working on it and let you know how it turns out. Okay, so a couple notes. First of all, this glass small stack, I don't know really what you call it exactly, it ate up a lot more grout than I thought it would. It's really, because there's so many grout joints, they really go in there a long ways. And I'm having a time of it with this small sponge. I wish I had a bigger sponge, but it's with my grout trawl, which I can't find. So I'm rinsing and repeating with this smaller one. I think it'll be alright. It's just going to take me a long time to get this mess cleaned up. I'm only going to do small sections at a time for that reason. Okay, so I was a little concerned there. I had a mess. And the sharpness of the glass here really chews at the sponge. So I may have to replace the sponge halfway through this, but I'm getting little sponge particles from time to time. You got to watch out for that. But like with most messy things, if you just keep wiping, eventually it gets better. So here it is, all finished up. The travertine went a lot easier than the grouting of the glass. So, little pub. Got to hang something on the wall here or paint over this. The previous piece of furniture that was here was marring the wall. And got the grandfathers here. They had both tended bar at one point in their lives. Unfortunately, neither one of them is still with us, but they're here in spirit. Nice little pub here in the house. Thanks, Brian. I owe you. Stop by and I'll let you try one of my home brews.